Well, firstly, thank you very much, Stephen, for giving us this opportunity.
You're welcome.
Got a couple questions for you today.
Shoot.
Firstly, how would you describe the responsibilities of your position?
In an hour or less?
In an hour or less.
How would I describe the responsibilities of my position? Running every aspect of an event. We can edit that out.
Yeah.
It's just
Sorry.
a phone call. That's too broad of a question. Let me practice that one.
Okay. What about the developments on the horizon? What developments on the horizon could affect your future opportunities?
No, we'll answer the first one first. Just how would you describe the responsibilities of your position? Do you want a list of responsibilities? Or do you want me to describe them?
Like just a list would be fine. I mean,
Because describing them would be a much longer answer. Did you get that? Now do you understand what I'm talking about with the question there? We're responsible, or my position, I'm responsible for sport tourism, managing it here, and managing the staff that deliver the events that take place at the Flatwater Centre. So it's everything from purchasing to event delivery, safety to security, all aspects, marketing, accommodations, transportation. Depending on the size and scale of the event. We host 20 events a year, plus World Championships or some major event every single year. So there's a lot being done in the background in terms of sport and what we deliver for an event.
okay.
We'll go with that.
Okay. All right. Another question. What are the skills required on your day-to-day basis?
Math skills are huge. We've got a staff of 29 when it comes to World Championships, so there's certainly you have to manage your staff, and it's long hours. So there's certainly a certain amount of being a cheerleader and a coach at the same time. The math part is huge because you're dealing with multi-million-dollar budgets. You're dealing with up to 16 different organizational chairs. When you look at all the transportation and security, everybody's got their own budgets. You have to be thinking on the fly. The events happen, they're very fast paced. So you have to balance all of that, sometimes on the go. So you have to be cognizant of where you're standing all the time. You have to be able to have the reporting skills to report to both council, the board, host organizing committee. A lot of what I do is presenting to different groups like the ones I just mentioned, and or even student groups, getting interns, co-op students. So there's a lot of a public side to the job, and then there's the delivery aspect.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay. From your perspective, what are the greatest challenges facing the organization in the next 3 to 5 years?
In the next 3 to 5 years, greatest challenges for us are more political than they are anything regarding the actual organization. From an operational standpoint, we're pretty sound, luckily. Continuing to engage volunteers over the course of hosting the Pan Am Sprint for the Pan American Championships, hosting Dragon Boat World Championships, and bidding on future events should we get them, making sure that volunteers are still engaged, still feel rewarded, and are not exhausted. So recruitment's important in that regard. Politically, our biggest challenge is making sure that the region understands and all of the municipalities that are impacted understand what it is that we're bringing to the table. For instance, the Toronto, the 2015 World Dragon Boat Championships, on an athlete scale, it's the size of a Winter Olympics. And it's coming here to Niagara. The impact certainly extends beyond the borders of the city of Welland. If we're going to continue to do this for the next 3 to 5 years, those partnering municipalities, or the municipalities that should be partnering with us, need to be better aware of what's going on. And that includes working with the regional tourism office so that they understand that the Flatwater Centre, because of its sheer size and its ability to host 8 different sports, has a capacity that truly impacts the entire region. So that's it in a nutshell.
What were the keys to your career advancement, and how did you get where you are, and what are your long-range goals?
I think the keys to the advancement, or my advancement, was having a plan to begin with. Often as a coach, I've heard the phrase, fail to plan, plan to fail. so having a plan that included where you were going to be in a 10-year horizon, even a 20-year horizon, and what it took to get there. It's one thing to have an objective, it's another thing to have an actual plan to achieve the objective. So having a plan that brought us to what we wanted to deliver, both from a community, infrastructure, legacy, deliverables, and also attract the World Championships, the different events, the investment, that was key. Having the vision to include in the plan the means to accomplish all of those things. I mean, certainly that's the only way to be successful, right? If you don't shoot at the net, you're not going to score. So I mean, that's part of what we've been able to do, or what I've been able to do. The advancements, I kind of started at this position. The advancement, I think, really for us is more so as an organization. So we started with 1 staff member, myself, in 2006, and for the World Championships we had 29 staff. So although I've hit the glass ceiling in terms of the organization, I haven't in terms of where I could sit or help out or lend a hand to be the president of the Canoe Niagara, you know, of the World Championships, the next bid, the next great thing that we could host here in Welland. So that's part of where I see myself, I guess, is continuing to do this, but in different roles. There's 8 different sports. Being part of a multi-sport games in Niagara would be fun. Sitting on a board or a host organizing committee for the Canada Games in 2025, yeah, that'd be absolutely fantastic. What year is it now? 2014? It's 11 years from now. Sounds fun.
Awesome. How is the economic climate in Welland affecting your business?
It's not affecting our business. It makes it difficult for us to assist some of the local businesses. People are looking for a particular a niche market, or they're coming from Toronto, or they're coming from Vancouver. They're looking for certain things that we don't always have in a smaller community like Welland. You know, the number of restaurants, the number of hotels. We can't physically put up all of the athletes that come to Welland. They have to go to Niagara Falls, they have to go to St. Catharines. So it's a challenge in that sense that we can't interact with them sometimes more than we can. We'd certainly like to. But in terms of the business climate, nothing that we do is really industrial based. So while there might be an industrial decline in Welland, I mean, the rest of the economy in Welland is certainly holding its own, if not flourishing in some other regards. If you go to an economic development summit, you'd learn about all of the new, small, high-tech, small manufacturing businesses that have taken up in Welland, that have actually surpassed, when you add them all up, the number of jobs that were created by just the John Deere leaving. It doesn't make the same headlines though. So it's more so, it's not that it's more so that the public climate is worse than what the actuality is. The perspective is worse. So it's hard, but you know the truth. So you got to keep dealing in that.
Absolutely. Would you choose this career if you were to make the decision over again? What, if anything, would you do differently?
Yes, I would choose this career again. I bring an entrepreneurial approach to sport and to sport hosting, and to quite an amazing national asset. And I get to see up and coming Olympians out there on our water every week, every year. And being a lover of sport, I mean, it's engaging and it's rewarding to know you're a part of that system. What would I do differently? Don't know. We're doing all right. I'm highly critical, but we've been going 140 miles an hour in an 80 zone since 2006 when we started. When you think of what we've hosted. Well over 150 events, 2 World Championships, a Commonwealth Rowing Championships, a $10 million build for the Flywater Center through the Pan Am Games, another World Championships coming, and bidding on another one, coming down the pipe. So if I had to do something differently, I might slow down. But I think we've managed pretty well, going at the speed that we're going at. It's a good support network from the board, from staff, and volunteers. I think that's important. Sometimes it can be a little daunting and exhausting on everyone when you're traveling that fast. So if I had to come up with an answer, maybe slowing it down by a small percentage might be the answer. There you go.
Perfect. Does your position afford you a work-life balance?
My position does. I don't know that I do. I think that most people that are going to be successful would have the same response to that answer. There are periods where you have to force the balance, and it's important to find it, especially if you have children. But the job does, absolutely. It's more of a personal decision sometimes when you're working till 8 o'clock at night. Event management is what it is. I mean, you know that going in, so you make the decision going in. When you jump out of a plane, you got to know there's a parachute. So,
Absolutely. How did you get into the sport industry?
Always being in the area, Welland, I went to school for Laurier, came back, was an entrepreneur in the hospitality industry. I was on different boards for festivals and events here in the city of Welland, and when the opportunity came up, I wanted to make the jump from something that was even a bigger draw on your personal time, the hospitality industry, into something that was rewarding in the sense that you were able to deliver events, interact with people, and grow. I think more so as a person. I can still cook at home, and this way it gives you an opportunity to do all the other things. So that's it.
Having to host more than 20 events per year at your facilities, what future events are you most looking forward to hosting?
There's not one in particular. Everyone's a bit different. Each one has its own highlights. Creating opening ceremonies is kind of fun, so we look forward to events where you get to explore the creative side and incorporate more of the city than just the Flatwater Centre. So the 2013 Worlds, we got to do that. We had the opening ceremonies down at the Merritt Park Amphitheatre stage where we hosted Luminaqua. We'll do that again in 2015. Those are some of the fun things. Canoe polo, incredible to watch. If we can get that bid in 2018, it'd be phenomenal. But it's tough to pick one. It's also exciting, but I think the bigger sometimes, the more exciting, and certainly being able to involve more of the community, the arts and culture is a nice piece to it. Go with that.
Do you see that some of the negative reviews about the Pan Am Games affect or will affect some of the views of the kayak canoe being hosted in Welland?
I think the fact that it's a ticketed event may affect the views or the number of spectators that come from the Welland area. We've typically hosted events that are free to the public, and while it is the People's Games, Toronto 2015, and the prices are not expensive, I think you'll get some backlash locally by the fact that you're attending a Pan American Championships, much like you would an Olympic Championships, and you have to pay a ticket price to go see something that in other regards has been free. The negative reviews of Pan Am aren't necessarily warranted. That's part of the challenge. Getting the truth out there and removing sport from the political environment is always one of the challenges. Sometimes your largest naysayer just happens to be the guy that didn't get the Olympics this time. So it's always a challenge to balance that. Sometimes the most vocal people are actually in the minority. So you have to keep track of the comments, or where the comments are coming from, where the views are. In terms of the future of the Flatwater Centre, so much that we're doing in scale is beyond Pan Am in terms of numbers. For instance, the World Championship, it's 35 times the size of the Pan American Games canoe sprint. So when you speak to scale, the backlash against Pan Am and the negative publicity, it really doesn't have any effect on where we're going. Where we're going is to an incredible place. So.
And lastly, for all the sport management students watching this video, what advice would you give them?
That's a good one. I'd rather speak to them individually. Sport management. Sport is a business, and I say that every time I go to one of the classes. Sport tourism is a business, and it's an industry of itself. There's so many different facets, so you can't just go in because you like football or because you like basketball. or you want to go work at the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you're truly into sport management and what it does for an economy, what it can do for athletes, for a community, what it can do for infrastructure, legacy, even community pride. It's so engaging and there's so much positivity. You have to be ready to embrace that side of it and recognize that it is a business at the end of the day. You have to have economic impact in order to host the big events. I think that's the underlying message. I think every time I go to one of the schools and present, take it seriously. It's not just about going to play for or going to work for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Stephen. This has been a great interview.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Good luck to you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We skipped question 2.